Hey everybody, welcome back to the Holland Marauders podcast and Holland Marauders Live. Joining you here on another fine evening with the crew, the Hardy crew.
We're
How
the
you guys
Hardy
doing?
crew.
Hardy crew.
We are a soup this
Yeah,
week.
we're a big old soup.
We're a soup crew.
But yeah, we're here to talk about Skeleton Crew once again. We're loving this show so far. We're gonna dive into episode six, and we're joined by another great guest. For the first time chatting with them, we got Goose from Triad of the Force.
How's it going, Goose? Me Hardies. How's it going?
Hey.
Welcome.
Am I like the sixth person that says that? I'm sorry.
No, that's
You
okay.
might be the first,
Excellent.
actually.
Oh,
People have
perfect.
said that when we haven't been talking about Skeleton Crew. So
Because I kind of
that's
felt like
true.
Orlando Bloom saying that and
Hey.
the Black Pearl, and everyone was
Hell
like,
yeah.
disappointed. So
No, not at all.
sorry.
I will
sorry.
never be disappointed hearing Avast. It's in my name
It's great. Well,
That's
it's
true.
and in our hearts too. So,
and in our hearts. Exactly.
so thank you for having me, guys.
Maybe the event
yeah.
was all along.
We tried to I know we were scheduling with you for a little bit, and then we were like, okay, in January that might work, and
And
It really
I
happened.
appreciate that, and I feel that because I've also been having like my scheduling snafus over at Triad with with the holidays and everything. So I understand how complicated it is. So I appreciate you guys being understanding and accommodating.
Oh, yeah,
So,
of course.
but we're here, we're ready. 2025.
yeah.
Hopefully this is as good as it's gonna get. This episode and this day,
This is it.
and everything
God.
else is just like, who cares?
We
how
we
it
peak
goes.
in January 2nd. That's scary.
Yes.
Oh no, the rest of the year.
Peak
That's
January
it.
2nd with Goose. I
Oh
like
He's
it.
yeah. You know what?
Coming on
I'll
here
take it.
cursing us.
I believe it.
I don't
I
know.
believe
I
it.
don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it'll happen. I think it's true.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard, baby. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
That's true.
Bryce.
That is true.
Hmm.
Bryce always brings a nice banger of an episode. So this
Bryce
was another
is
one.
Sure.
Bryce
Brings
is always
the
nice. That is true.
Bryce is
Exactly.
always nice. Be a good T-shirt. But Goose, we've never really chatted with you. A little bit online here and there, I guess. But what's the Goose lore? Like, how did you become a Star Wars fan? How did Triad of the
Goose
Force
lore.
get going? Tell us, the backstory with all that stuff.
It's funny. It's funny that you say goose lore because I had never heard that terminology, at least in reference to myself, except now, not just with you guys, but I just started a new job back in September, and I was at my holiday party at the new job, and then some of the new coworkers whom like I'm still getting to know, they were like, "Oh, there's goose lore going around the office," and I'm like, "What? I'm just some guy, But that's a different story though. That's different lore to speak of. But my lore in terms of Star Wars, it's kind of boring, right? I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial, 36. So I feel like I have the boring Star Wars story that a lot of millennials have in a post
to us.
80s era, wherein boomer parents are just like, well, let me just project my fandoms on you, and it was basically a mid 90s thing, right? Of my dad being like, well, the Star Wars trilogy is re-releasing in theaters and there's a special edition thing, so let's just go see it because I saw it with your mom when she and I were dating, so maybe you'll like it, right? And he was unfortunately wrong because I didn't like it. I just loved it, and it was one of those
Okay.
things where it was kind of immediate. Where the minute we finished seeing the films and cinemas, I was just like, we must go to Blockbuster right now, and we must get some VHS immediately. And we went to and effectively we went to Blockbuster, and we got the VHS of the original trilogy, which I still have at home. I was actually at home, and now during the holidays, and I was able to find like the original VHS copy, the first one that well, not that I bought, that my parents bought me. And then it was funny because then like a couple months later, after the trilogy had finished doing its theatrical run, like the special editions came out on VHS. So like I was just like, oh, we have to buy them. And my parents were just like, didn't you just buy these movies? And I'm like, no, but these are the special editions. They have new awesome CGI
New
scenes.
content.
Come on.
Jabba the Hutt. We have Jabba the Hutt now, and New Hope. So that's kind of like how the journey started, right? And then through that, it was kind of just rewatching those VHSs until like they have almost no life in them, and then lo and behold, right, 1999 and episode 1, and like my 11-year-old mind just kind of lost its collective sense, and it was one of the best things ever that could have happened in my life to have Star Wars at that age, because I think that I was perfectly primed, right, to have episode 1 at the age that I saw it, because I was the perfect, age group to watch that film. But also an interesting age group to age with the prequel trilogy, right? Because at that time, internet was being a thing, and Discord amongst teenagers was also a thing. And what do teenagers love to do? Talk crap about everything. And it was just like, obviously Star Wars is the perfect victim of vitriol even back then, right? Or especially back then. Who
Tale
knows,
as old
right?
as time.
Who knows when the vitriol towards Star Wars is the worst. But you fall into those things, right? And I kind of fell into that in a lot of ways, where it's just like, oh, maybe the prequel trilogy does suck, right? But still played all the video games, still have Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I wasn't as
KOTOR.
big. I wasn't as big into the books though. Like I did read the Thrawn trilogy and the Jedi Academy trilogy, and I read like books here and there, but I wasn't like, I didn't read New Jedi Order. I didn't read all of that. I was very, very like touch and go with a lot of Star Wars, but Star Wars was kind of always there. Where I think that my life took like the big Star Wars turn was with the Disney acquisition. That was for some people that was the end of the world, but for me, I was just like, that if George Lucas did something that's genius, is choose Disney to give the franchise to, or sell the franchise to, because he made bank. He didn't give it.
He handed it over.
He's not a. If Uncle George is one thing, it's not a charity case, and he made a good financial decision on that one. But I feel like that one kind of reinvigorated me, because up until that time, like there was between Revenge of the Sith, which is insane to think of, is 20-year-olds this year, and Phantom and Force Awakens is 10 years old this year. It was wild,
Crazy.
But that time in between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens was kind of like, in many ways, it was kind of worse than Return of the Jedi and Episode 1, because you kind of know that there should be something, but there wasn't anything. And the expectation was kind of like worse, because I feel like in the 90s, before the books came out, people were just like, well, that's it. It's over. We're not going to expect anything else. But between Revenge of the Sith and Force Awakens, we were already like in franchise high, with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and all the other franchises that are like chugging and and putting out movies every other day. It was just like, what about Star Wars?
Yeah.
So like when Disney announced that, they were purchasing Lucasfilm and like doing a new trilogy, I was just like, man, we are in it. We're in it, and we're going to be eating well for the next couple of years, and not next couple of years, for the next couple of decades, until we all pass away.
Yes, we're going to be eating well until we die.
Yeah, and I think, despite some YouTubers out there, I think that time has proven my assessment right, because we have been eating, we have been feasting, and I think that despite what many clickbaiters try to say about Star Wars is dead and this is why Rey sucks or anything else, it's just like, hey man, if you're making content all these years about the same 3 topics, and we're eating with like High Republic, the sequel trilogy, Bad Batch, and now Skeleton Crew, I think that we are winning. So I'm just like, I'm loving this Star Wars era, and I'm ready for more. And I think Skeleton Crew kind of proves that we're, we don't even know like how good we have it right now, and it can only get better from here.
Oh yeah,
I love this.
Yeah,
I love this so much.
Great monologue.
Yeah,
perfect.
I knew this was like this was why we wanted to like reach out to you guys to like chat on our show, because we're on the same wavelength. And I was just sitting here like, yes, this is it. This is
Preach.
This is it.
We try. I mean, and it's one of those things, right? Where like it's a balancing act too, because we're not here trying to be just like, oh, everything Disney does is amazing. Because like, I mean, have there been duds?
Yeah.
Sure. Have there been
flaws.
things that don't work? I mean, sure, but like at the end of the day, I was there during the dark times when there was absolute crap, or there was absolute nothingness. And between that and what we have now, I'm just like the entitlement that some people have. I'm like, complaining about having amazing Star Wars to nitpick. I'd rather live in that world than the world where there was no Star Wars. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like, give it
that's a
to
good way
me.
to put it.
Give me Book of Boba Fett 3 times. Because that's better than not having any Star Wars. So
I
I'll
agree.
just put it that way.
All day. We have to clip that speech that you gave there. That was
Yeah, we're gonna have
amazing.
to, we're gonna have to send that
Yeah,
out.
so
It's Luthen Rail and then that one.
and then that one, yeah, and then
Take
John's
that, Stellar
speech to the
Skarsgård,
pirates.
Yeah, then
Um,
Jod.
that we'll
Top
get to
3
later.
speeches.
But you mentioned you rattled off all those video games from the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Did you
Yeah.
ever play this one?
Oh, jeez.
I never because I would never had a
Oh.
PlayStation. I never had a PlayStation 1, sorry. I was an N64 guy. So I was a Rogue Squadron and Shadows of the Empire, dude.
Do you know about this game and its amazingness?
And now because of Flandrew and some of like those game
Flandrew,
YouTube channels,
Yep.
I've been able to educate myself through others' experiences, but I myself did
There you
not
go.
had the PlayStation 1 rough patches or good patches. I don't know.
It's a good patch for me. I grew up with that game. Changed my life.
we
We
talk
actually-
about it like every
We
week
interviewed
almost.
the developers on our
awesome,
channel.
yeah.
So you're gonna have to check that out, and we're gonna have
Which
to
is-
have you over sometime to play it.
Yeah,
I would
at
love
some
to.
point.
I would love to. Yeah.
That's
Or
the
we'll, at
rules.
Celebration we'll meet up or something, and you can.
Oh yeah,
I'm bringing
yeah.
my
I
PS2.
officially
my
started
God.
planning Japan. So
we
Oh,
we
man.
it'll
we'll be at
Have
the
fun.
we'll be at the next one. We won't
We'll be at
that
the
one.
next one if it's in the United States.
Yeah, no matter where it is, if it's in
Uh,
Antarctica, I'm going.
Okay,
Disney
fine.
/ Lucasfilm can't afford to do 2 international ones in a row. They need that
Yeah.
corporate synergy and get people to the parks. So
Yeah, you're right.
it'll be
Triad.
Anaheim or Orlando for sure.
I agree. But with all that, it was good to get the Goose lore. Very good. I know the chat liked it. You scared us at the beginning when you said you didn't like Star Wars. You loved it. I know Matt was sweating a little bit there. But
Yeah, this whole
I
podcast
didn't-
has been a charade. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Imagine.
Star Wars actually sucks. Bye.
All right, see ya.
And then he just leaves.
that would have been a move.
That's it.
2025, baby. Here we go.
Somehow I'm pulling bags of Lego out of my pocket. But anyways,
That's nothing weird. No,
It's
not,
weird.
though.
I just have like a bag like this of Lego. Like I don't
Lego
know.
dealer.
Lego
Uh-oh.
dealer.
I just
You got
Anyways.
the hat and everything. You got the look.
I have like my box here of like
Ooh,
There you
my
go.
myself Christmas gift here, which I don't know if you guys can see the icon on that one, but the minute I saw that the Galaxy's Edge was finally available with this lightsaber, I was just like, yeah,
Is it
baby.
the Gunji?
Hell yeah.
Look
Oh,
at
man,
that.
they made that. That's awesome.
Look at
Yeah.
that
So
boy.
good.
I was
Matt,
like,
you gotta
I
get
need
That's
Gunji
incredible.
saber
I
now.
needed that.
That looks
might.
really good.
I forgot they
yeah.
made that. I might have to get that.
You're gonna be getting
It's-
that in May.
It's too good. It's too good.
Yeah, maybe.
It's the good. All right. What
But
else we got
anywho,
going on?
that's beautiful.
Lego dealer, Gunji lightsaber.
Speaking of beautiful, Matt, I know you have a beautiful question for
Oh,
us
God.
for our
All right.
question of the week. Hit
Here
us
we
with
go.
it.
Goose stalled enough for me to refine
you
my
go.
idea. I think
It was a
enough
plan.
to make it interesting. Okay, so you're on your ship, and this thing is in the scrapyard, and it's eating away at it, and you press the button to blow the hull off your ship to reveal a new ship underneath. Which fictional starship are you revealing underneath the hull? Bonus points if it's not a spaceship from Star Wars, but you can still answer a spaceship from Star Wars
What?
if you
Oh,
can't think of
I immediately have an
anything else.
answer.
Okay.
The Jetsons car slash ship with the sound effect.
And it's like, yeah, right? And it's like totally epic. Like the hull blows off and you just go, just like fly away.
I was ready for that
Perfect.
one.
Perfect.
Oh my god, this is a really
Interesting.
tough one.
Mm.
This is a wild question.
Well, it's tough because you made the caveat that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Star Wars ship. And I
It
was just
can
like,
be if
okay,
you
let's
can't think
go.
of one. That's
Mm.
totally fine. But like,
Bonus
I
points.
like to limit my nerddom because otherwise I would just lose my entire
oh,
life
yeah, no, I get
on,
that.
on so many other things. So I try to hyperfixate on Star
Could it
Wars,
like?
but
Trust
You said
me.
ship. Could it like go from a spaceship into just like the Black Pearl
Yeah, sure.
somehow?
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's like what's it called? Treasure Planet. We keep talking about that, obviously, because it's
Mm.
very relevant. But those are literally just like sea ships in space, like with solar
True.
sails instead of like wind sails. Like so you can do whatever. I don't care. I'm not here to dictate your choice.
I would hear me out.
yeah.
It would be think is it in Batman Begins or in The Dark Knight? It's in Batman Begins
Mhm.
when the tumbler just kind of just like splits apart and the
Hell
bike
yeah.
just like shoots out. Or is that's in Dark Knight?
That's in the Dark
Knight.
Knight.
Yeah.
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 They all blend together, but
And
they're
that
all
guy's
great.
like, I gotta get me one of them, or he has something
Right,
like
yeah.
that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think that vibe is what I'm going for. So the Onyx Cinder blows up, and it's actually just Cobb Vanth's speeder. He just rockets away.
And Cobb Vanth is in it. Just zooms
There
away.
he goes.
That's good.
That's
There
pretty
he
good.
goes.
That's good because that gave me like a comfortable space to like come up with two answers: a Star Wars one and a non-Star Wars one.
Oh,
And I think
wow.
my Star Wars one was my first instinct was to just take like the T-85 X-wing from Star Wars Resistance because
Hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
T-85's
one
not brought up enough.
one massive nitpick that I've always had about the Star Wars sequel trilogy is like how familiar it was to the original trilogy. Like I wanted it to be kind of like the prequel trilogy, right? In the sense that it's pushing the design of, and because I'm an architect by trade, so like I love design and like I love Doug Chiang and everything that Star Wars has always done to leave its mark, right, in cinematic design. So like I wanted the sequel trilogy to keep that tradition, and for me, unfortunately, like it kind of was a little stagnant. But when I saw Last Jedi and Star Wars Resistance, I was just like, oh, those two films are doing kind of what I wanted it to do in terms of like taking design forward a little bit. And like the T-85 X-Wing for me like was like the perfect direction in which to modernize the T-65. But then the TIE silencer, right, that Kylo Ren had in Last Jedi, dope ship.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
like
I agree.
those would be like my Star Wars choices. But I think for non-Star Wars, I was inspired by your Batman take, but I'm gonna go a little more retro because one of my favorite toys growing up was a Batman Forever Batmobile.
Ooh,
Because in
hell
that one,
dude.
there was
Nice.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the merchandise for Batman Forever, but there was a Batmobile that came out that then could transform into all the ships from that movie, and like you could like take the front off and put like a thing on the top, so it would be like the boat version from the film, and then you could like take the sides off and put wings, so it became the Batwing from that film. So you had like the Batboat, the Batmobile, and the Batwing from Batman Forever, and that was absolutely one of my favorite toys growing up. So that's gonna be my non-Star Wars answer.
That's a perfect answer. That's great.
Yes.
Can somebody explain to me? That is a great answer. I know the Bat toy you're talking, the Batmobile toy you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. But what is a hear me out cake?
Oh God, you don't know what a hear me out is? Do
I
have
don't
to
know.
That's
explain
why I
this?
see.
have to explain
That's
this
why
to
I
us?
just dropped in the chat that a Marauders Hear Me Out cake would be absolutely cursed because I knew half of it would be explaining to AJ what a Hear Me Out cake is.
Me with
Or
social
just like
media is
the
so weird because
concept of like hear me out.
I'm
Like,
super in tune with some things, and I have to explain them to Jamie or Matt. And
Yeah.
there's other things where like I don't
we
know.
fill
what
each
this one
other
is.
out.
all right, Jamie, do you want to explain it?
At a very simple level, AJ, if you were to see a character and someone was just like, hear me out, as in like that person's really hot, I would hear me out, and it's usually like the most ridiculous looking character you ever seen in your life. So hear me out cake is a bunch of characters on like printed out paper. Hear me out.
Okay, that's he's a pretty traditionally hot character.
Yeah.
Have you seen that helmet? If somebody said like "hear me out," like
it'd be like
Dr. Mandible, that would be like okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, what's that with Dr. Mandible though?
Okay, all right.
Hear me
it'd
out.
be like every single one of your like little glupshadows.
Literally.
Like
Hear
every
me out,
single
Niebuhr
one.
Gascon.
Yes.
Again, traditionally hot character. You can't. I mean, it's fairly boring.
Sorry.
And I have to confer with the younger generations at my job to confirm this, or either go to Urban Dictionary. That might be too spicy for this, but I need to check this because I had never heard of this one before either.
Oh God,
It's
maybe
yeah.
I'm just too.
Ooh.
We're just too
The M&M
talented
characters.
online.
I think it's something that
Well, that's
is
how it started.
It seems to be something that's more of like more like femme audiences in fandom. That's seems to be more of like what the trend is like based in. So I don't know how Matt figured it out, but Matt just knows everything.
I have gay friends.
That's of AO3.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's that kind of thing of different sets of fandom. I talk about this a lot with the guys.
This is a safe place, clone humor. No
Anyway,
judgment.
This is the night
Matt,
show.
what would your ship look like?
Oh,
Let's
crap,
answer
right.
your own question. If
What was
if
it
you
called?
were you had a spaceship and the outside hull exploded, what would it reveal?
Okay, so hear me out. It's okay. It's the ship. It's called the Betty, the Betty, and it's from Alien Resurrection. It is the space pirate ship that
Yeah.
Ron Perlman and the rest of the crew fly. They pick up all these bodies and bringing them to the what's it called, like the U.S. ship? I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
For them to test the xenomorphs on, and they hire space pirates to like kidnap people and bring them to the ship. And it's a ship called the Betty, and it's awesome. It's a great looking ship. It's like the best part of that movie, I think, because you only get like a quick glance at it like a couple of times. But it's called the Betty.
It's a good answer. And hot take, it's a good movie. People like
I honestly did not hate it.
Dunk on Alien Resurrection, but actually good.
It's
Not
sillier
bad.
than the other ones, but it's fun. It's a fun time.
I'll fight anybody.
Silly is
Alien
fun.
Resurrection is good.
Exactly.
But Matt, once again, great question of the week. Good
Thank
answers
you.
from everyone, I thought. And let's move on to some more nonsense here before we talk about Skeleton Crew.
We talk a lot of nonsense on this show.
Character swap, which could be a bit of a quicker activity here. But so Jamie, you want to explain character swap?
Yeah, character swap is essentially we take a character in Star Wars and put them into another fandom, and then they switch roles with that person. So I gave the example this week. I don't know, we took Jabba the Hutt and replaced him with Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. Because that would be really funny.
We made it a little more relevant to Skeleton Crew, like what we're talking about, and maybe like pick someone from the new episode of Skeleton Crew. If you didn't, that's okay. Or if you don't, it's okay. But it can be tough because sometimes there's not that many characters going on. But
yeah, because originally I was thinking like I was gonna go with Tech and swap him with Spock and Star Trek, and I was like that would just be too normal. Like
sometimes people do that though.
They would vibe too much. I feel like there wouldn't be too much of a difference for him. And then I'm like, no, Tech in the MCU I think would be a little spicier because he's just gonna be confused with the magic and everything.
I have a lot of questions.
But from Skeleton Crew, I don't. That's a good one because I don't know who I would want to swap out that would not fit in another universe. My first instinct is just to take Pocket and put her into Pirates of the Caribbean, just because I think she would just crush everybody in that trilogy, and just in those two scenes that she had in these two last episodes. I think that Pocket would be like she would slap Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa and take over everybody. So that's gonna be my Skeleton Crew answer. Pocket, put her in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
I like it. Jordan in the chat stole mine, but it was very on the nose. So I have a quick backup. We do think alike.
That's incredibly on the nose.
I'm gonna take Brutus, my boy Brutus, and swap him into the old nursery tale, whatever we want to call it.
Don't say three
the
little
big
pigs.
bad wolf. The
Three Little Pigs. He said Three Little Pigs. He
said
said
Little
Brutus
Pigs.
and Three Little Pigs.
and I called it the big bad wolf. I forgot the name of the story for a minute. I'm in Star Wars mode. Yeah, Three Little Pigs. What's that one with the three pigs? And they're all little.
Yeah, what are they? I
They're all
don't know.
little.
I don't know what that one is.
Brutus is going in there, and the big bad wolf is coming into. It can be the same thing, right? So.
What the hell's a pirate?
That's beautiful.
Jamie or Matt, what do you guys have?
I got a good one.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm swapping out Neil with Dumbo.
Oh,
So
Come
that
on.
Fern,
I don't want to see Neil in a circus in a cage.
see,
that'd be
I want to
tough.
And
see
get drunk?
Neil
No.
drunk off his ass. That's why I
My sweet
swapped.
boy.
Pink elephants.
And Fern can use Dumbo to fly to the top of the cliff. No problem. They get the ship away faster. Everybody gets out of there.
But he had to go.
Yes,
It's
they
not-
all had to go through their
True.
transformative journey with the ship. I know.
Hear me out.
But
I just want to protect Neil at all costs.
I like it. It's a good one. Jamie, you seem
Um,
to be questioning everything.
I'm so
brought us
bad
to
at
this
this. It's literally my segment, and I'm so bad at this. It's because
I mean,
when
I
you
literally
put on,
chose Three Little Pigs.
when you put on the restraints
Pretty
of the
bad.
episode, I'm just like, what is every other thing I've ever like watched in my entire life? I have no idea. So I guess I would swap out Gunter for the chicken from Family Guy.
Oh,
Specifically when he's Boba Fett.
okay.
I like it.
Wow.
You know what? That's the best one.
That's one way. Yeah.
Specifically that version.
That
There you
chicken's
go.
not listening to Jod's speech. He's not
No.
falling for it.
And-
Jod's
and-
screwed if that happens.
And meanwhile, Gunter would just try to fight Peter Griffin the entire time. So
That's true.
Yeah.
there you go.
Absolutely true.
Can I just say I'm very happy that Gunter is still alive?
Me too.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
very
Seriously.
worried that Gunther was done.
Yeah, my question is like, who actually got?
Yeah, right. Who got
Acided out.
acided? Because
Like
like,
one guy.
It was
nobody,
like the whole
nobody's
crew
gone.
was in the ship. I'm just like, I don't know.
Literally.
But with that, we'll move on to skeleton crew talk. And yeah, I mean, we can kick it off with talking about the pirate crew, I guess. We'll kind of go back and forth between the two arcs, even though Jod's storyline was like one long scene, but it was great. But you know, Jod comes out of the manhole cover there, and with all
With
of
the
his
best-
wares. Oh well, I mean,
the
all of
best
his
reaction
like,
image
treasures.
I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. That like split-second shot where they get him and he's got like that big goofy smile on his face
Mhm.
as he's like coming up.
And he's
That's
laughing.
such a good picture.
That is all I aspire to like be in life. Just climbing out of a hole, just covered in jewels.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Goose, how have you been feeling about Jod as we go through this season?
I mean,
Up to this time?
I think that Jod has been, and what I'm gonna say, like, it's gonna sound like maybe it's a negative, but it's a neutral statement. I think that the show has been exactly what I've been expecting, but I mean it in the best way possible, right? Because it's
Mhm.
playing with all the archetypes of a lot of, you know, childhood films and TV shows that we all grew up with, specifically like ones from like 80s and 90s. And like I said, like I mean that in the best way, because one of the great things about it is like, yeah, it's playing with all the archetypes that we've known from all these kinds of stories, but turns it on their head in a very Star Wars way, which makes it even more endearing. So I think that the archetype of Jod has been really, really cool for me, because not only is he just, you know, the pirate that is kind of leading the kids or double crossing the kids, but ultimately he is one of the kids. I mean, on our podcast, one of the things that we have been comparing Jod to is kind of like Peter Pan in Steven Spielberg's Hook, where, you know, he's just like a lost boy that went away from Neverland, right? And he grew up and got jaded, and he's like Peter Banning, chairman of the board. You know, he became one of the pirates, literally. So it's one of those things where Jod is in that journey, right? But it feels a little more menacing because we're from the POV of Neil and the gang, and we're the kids, so we're seeing the adults at the bad guy. Where in Hook, we're from Peter's perspective, and he's just the out of place pirate that's learning to be a kid. So I think that Jod's journey has been really good in that sense, because it's that deconstruction, right, of not just an adult and not just a pirate, but a lost kid that doesn't know he's lost, and he just needs to find his way back and find his family and find his friends and kind of return to the naivete that he once dreamed about. So that's what I'm kind of like rooting for Jod right now. It's just that, you know, because obviously we needed everything that's happening to happen. The double cross needed to happen. He needs to take the pirates down to the journey that they're going through now, which is basically a parallel to the first episode when he took them to find treasure, right? But now he needs to find out that the treasure vault's always going to be empty, because the treasure isn't the booty, right? It's the cliche, right? The friends we made along the way type of, type of cliche.
Like actually.
So I'm just looking forward to that, right? The kids to mature and find out who they are, but still hold on to their youthful naivete, and Jod to mature as well, but also find that he doesn't have to be the cynic old pirate, but he can find joy in being a lost boy. So yeah, so I think Jod has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I've really liked that Jude Law has been able to disappear in the role, because one of the things that I was worried about is having such a, you know, a known character, a known actor like Jude Law in Star Wars, because I'm just like, one, is he gonna take the spotlight away from the kids, and two, am I only going to be able to see Jude Law? And thankfully, I feel like he's been so good at his role that he has kind of become Jod, and I don't see Jude Law. So kudos to him for being a good actor, which I
Yeah.
was worried that he would not be able to do with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that was a great way to put
That's
it,
a great
because
point.
like Jod has said in the show that he's like basically a lost boy, like a lost kid who had like nothing, just like them. And he's lost his way. He's got to get find his way back, but not until he finds all of the pirates' ways to Doom first, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to Ad-Aden.
Yeah. And I like that he got captured right away. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but at the same time,
I wasn't either.
Surprised.
I especially was not expecting to see what's her name? Oh my god,
The opera singer?
Ubla
Yep.
Molbro. Ubla
Opera
Molbro.
singer.
Take the stage
of
with
course,
the TLJ
yes.
aliens, Matt.
Could not believe I saw her. I swear, okay, I'm crazy because I went to the Wikipedia page for the Idlelouds, who are the species, the giant purple lady from The Last Jedi, whose name is really long.
Yeah.
Sure.
Countess Alessandrix Delga Cantonica Provincia.
Okay.
Of course.
Yes.
I swear I've seen an idol dowd in the background somewhere. I thought it was in this episode. I thought they were part of the crew that picks Jod up when he's climbing through the manhole cover, but I could be wrong because Wikipedia doesn't have Skeleton Crew as one of the appearances for that species.
Matt, you know what you need to do? You need to take matters into your own hands and just start showing everyone your knowledge.
Yeah,
This is
you're
what you,
absolutely right.
honest to goodness, is what you need to do, because you are the one that cares the most about the Last Jedi aliens. Clearly,
Hey, you made
Please.
a
Have
video
to
on
text
each.
John Favreau. Just text him. It's like, hey, bro.
Dude,
He'll be like,
seriously.
oh, yeah.
Let me
'Cause
just
not
send him a
only
text
that-
real quick.
The what's his name? Not the first. Is it Brutus's first mate? He's a Swarton.
Yep.
Which is
Another
another
one.
TLJ alien. Like
Yeah.
another. They like plucked all of the guys out of the casino and just put them on.
But
this
I thought
resort
they were
planet.
gonna retcon the sequel.
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. They just want us to forget about it completely.
Well,
So they put
it's-
all the aliens in it.
It makes perfect sense too, because this resort, whatever we want to call it, on Lanupa, is very Canto Bight-ish, like
Yeah,
all of it.
well,
And
exactly.
it makes sense. That was probably the direction.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same corporation that runs all the.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like Hyatt and Marriott. Like they have like
Yeah.
subsidiary hotels that are called something else, but it's still
MGM.
owned by all of them. But it's one of those things. It's all corporate America. It's just all owned by the same people. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But
Zerwin
you're
Corp.
super onto something. We'll get back to this later, or we can talk about it now. But when we were just rewatching it, right before the show, I noticed something about the trash that was just like an interesting correlation. But I don't want to
Interesting.
jump too far ahead. If
Somebody
you have
put a
this on
pin
a
in that.
schedule, AJ.
Someone put
No,
that-
yeah, I know what you're going to talk
trash.
about. But
Okay, then
we
I'll
can
save
get
it.
to
I'll
that.
save it.
Yeah.
I'll save the trash.
Well, we
In that
can
trash
come
talk.
back to Jod on the ship with the
interesting.
pirates later, but we'll transition to the kids now. And they come out of the chute from where they escaped from, which luckily like that wasn't a booby trap into like a bunch of spikes or something.
Yeah,
Of course.
just got you a little wet.
Very
and a little-
considerate
little
of
dizzy.
Renat to like
I
have
know.
all those
Yeah.
morbidly dangerous and deadly booby traps, and then when the insect's just like, actually, now you can just exit.
Actually, it's a
So-
fun slide. Have fun.
Actually,
Since
now,
you-
yeah.
Since
yeah.
you made it this far,
Yeah.
Since you made it this far, I'll let you live, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And tensions are clearly high with the kids, especially Fern and KB. Jamie, I know you had some points about their relationship and KB
Yeah.
or Fern rather expecting, everyone
I
to be
have
able
a
to do
ton
what
of
she can do,
thoughts.
and it's super relatable, for most
yeah,
people.
I
but-
mean, before I even get to that though, I gotta say as well, we watched this episode in the middle of our original trilogy rewatch because it was New Year's Eve, and so we were fresh off of watching A New Hope and Empire. And so obviously at the end of Empire, like Luke goes down like the shaft and he's like sliding down the entire thing. And we were like, I don't know, we made some joke during that time. And then this episode happens and the first shot is the kids going down the tubes. And when AJ and I and our friend Laura was over and we're all just like, wait, hang on,
No,
wait a second.
the joke
It's like
was-
poetry.
Exactly. The joke wasn't there something earlier this year where someone went down like a chute? Like what was that in? And then like we watched this and it happened. So it was
like right after. We're like,
I think it was
hold on.
Acolyte though, where like
Yes, that also did happen.
Danae went
They had a
down
slide in that. Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
when she fell down
Which
yeah,
was a reference
the
to
year of Star
Empire.
Wars
Anyway,
slides.
anyway,
the year of slides.
huge
Yeah.
year.
Huge year for slides.
But KB and Fern.
So KB and Fern, yeah, KB and Fern, they're best friends, and at the same time, they're both nervous to like admit that to each other, which is so relatable. Absolutely so relatable. Like, you're terrified that sometimes that you don't have the love of your best friend, but then at the same time, you know that you have their back and you know that they have yours. But sometimes you do just need that reminder along the way.
Not me. Me and Goose, best friends.
And
I know that.
Immediately.
I knew that immediately. Yeah.
It's the mustaches.
It's literally it's the facial.
There is understated power. In
Absolutely.
a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Glasses, mustache, we're in.
Yeah.
Me, you, Groucho, Marx, we're all in.
We just need cigars. And we're good to go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, but that is a good point. That's a very good point. Because it doesn't seem like Fern is somebody who shares any emotions at all, ever.
No, she doesn't.
Neither is KB, but in the opposite direction. It's like Fern is extremely guarded, and KB is just kind of like pretends to be subdued, but isn't. Like, so it's on the opposite sides of the spectrum, but you've come all the way around to not telling your best friend that you're their best friend,
Right?
Or they're your best friend.
Like, the thing with KB is, like, obviously, like, when you have some sort of disability or some sort of like difference than others, you kind of do want to squash it, but at the same time, you're just like, you know what, fuck it, like, it doesn't matter, like, I should just be who I am. And KB really had that moment in this episode where she's just like, there are things that I literally cannot do the same way that you're doing it, and that's okay, but you need to accept that. And so I'm really, really glad that they found that acceptance with each other again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is one of the things that Skeleton Crew, I mean, and I say this liking most, if not all, of the Star Wars content, right, that has like come out, or media, because I don't like that word content, right? But Skeleton Crew particularly, right, excels in how it characterizes these kids and how it highlights their relationships, because it's a smaller, and I use smaller in a cautious way, a smaller story where it's about like kids going through like a personal journey as opposed to this fantastic adventure of saving the galaxy, which is bigger than life itself. Sometimes Star Wars gets lost in that mythical hero aspect where it loses track a little bit of the human side of interpersonal dynamics. And I think that because Skeleton Crew is, again, like smaller, and I use that in quotations and not as an insult at all, but to its benefit, it kind of has like a lot of these moments where kids can confront the largeness of the adventures that they're in within the interpersonal dynamics of just normal kids being kids, which I think, again, is the highlight of this show, and a kudos to the directors and the writers to just let kids be kids, especially in Star Wars, because they could have been like, oh, well, it's going to be Gungi now and Ahsoka, and they're going to be Jedi kids and going into war. And it's just like, no, just let kids be kids. And I think one of the great things about that is how relatable it is, because we've all been in those types of relationships with our friends, in terms of like how we fail to communicate with them. I mean, I was just back home with my friends, and like we're all in our mid-30s, almost 40s, and we sometimes don't know how to communicate with each other, even though we've known each other for 20 odd years, and we fail to communicate, and we're like, don't know how to meet each other in a way where we can just tell how we feel about certain things, or how we can interact with that. And I think it's very telling that a show like this, where it's just talking about kids, is not really talking about kids. It's just talking about all of us and how we kind of relate to all of us. So I think that was all of the power and strength, right, between KB's inner struggle, but also Vern and KB's dynamic in that way. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, Skeleton Crew is a kids show. And I'm just like, if you think it's just a kids show, then we're watching different media, man. Because like it's not kids. It's just people, Like,
it's a coming of age Star Wars story, pretty much. Yeah.
But we're all coming of age all the time. I mean, that's the thing that I just keep learning. The older I getting, like I'm going to be 37 this year, and I just keep realizing that I'm just the same kid that liked Star Wars 20 years ago, and I watch these kids and Skeleton Crew kind of discover themselves and want adventure, but still don't know how to deal with everything and want to get home and still figure out how to be friends. And I'm just like, man, that's me. I'm still trying to figure out like how to be friends with my friends and make new friends and find adventure and stuff. So I think that there's a genuine heart to a lot of the things that are happening to this show that I feel like we should be. And when I say we, I mean the royal we, right? Not we here, just all of us. A lot more in tune with, because I feel like if we just kind of did that collectively with a lot of things that we're all going through, like in this world together, I think the world would be a little more empathetic place, right? If we were all a little bit more like KB and Vern, that are just able to stop and listen to each other. But that's just me. Maybe I'm a little sappy on that one.
No,
but.
all of it. All of that. I also just want to highlight the writer for this episode and last episode was Myung-Jo Westner, and so she absolutely killed it with these 2 episodes, because it really was more of a character deep dive. Even though we did get some of the most like plot of the entire show in these episodes, it was really, really character driven. Every other episode is written by Christopher Ford and John Watts, but this past one. So 5 and 6 were both written by Myung-Jo Westner. So like she did fantastic. So I just gotta highlight her.
As somebody said in the chat, this episode was very symbolic, and I really liked that. Because I'm all about that in Star Wars.
Symbolism.
Love it.
Yeah. No, I mean it was great to get some tension, more tension than usual with the kids, and we certainly got that this episode. And it was nice for KB to kind of have her take the center stage episode. So
yes, I was very
Wim,
happy about
Wim
that.
Too eventually. So.
Wim gets his victory. He finally does something. So proud of my boy. He did something.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, but I think that was a great thing about the episode as a whole, right? Because the way we were talking about it over at Triad was that this was like the elbow episode for the season, where like the things start to shift to get into position to go into the direction that the show needs to go towards the final 2 episodes and resolve all of the conflicts of the show. But this was the episode where like everyone said right now, like everyone got their W. Like obviously like everyone starts with an L because they need to have that moment where they need to figure out like where they are and everything. But up until this point, the kids weren't a team. They weren't a skeleton crew, right? Yeah, and like this was the episode where exactly. This was the episode where they finally became the crew, right?
Yeah, they're all on the same page. They all have their roles and everything within it, like as well. And they all care for each other, and they're all like, you know what, we are in this together, and we all are like, okay, we know what's going on now.
They were little caterpillars, and then they got into their chrysalis, and then they ejected the pod, and then became a beautiful little onyx cinder.
Wow.
It's all polished like
it's
like
literal.
like a black Naboo fighter.
Symbolism.
It's perfect. It's very symbolic. Just whip that up there every time we talk about this.
Every time.
But I like for Wim. I mean, it was so satisfying because Wim is the guy who wants to go on the adventures. He's got his head in the clouds. He's always looking to the horizon, always trying to get that lightsaber, be the hero, this, that, or the other thing. But he doesn't understand what that means until this episode, until he has to save somebody's life.
He doesn't even know he's doing it.
He doesn't really know he's doing it, but he's still like scared. He's panicking. He's worried. She's kind of guiding him through it. And that's what it means to be a hero, to be scared, but to still come out of it on the other side, having saved somebody, having learned something.
Yeah, it's the age-old Carrie Fisher. Be afraid, but do it anyway.
Yeah.
That is literally my motto on things. Every single pre-stream, I like have like a mini like spiral like 5 minutes before we go on, and then I'm like, okay, here. Be afraid, but do it anyway. We can do it.
I mean, and for me, it always reminds me of, and this is a horrible movie, but it goes to show that even like horror movies have redeemable moments, and for me, the Joss Whedon cut of the Justice League is like. I mean, if people like it, more power to you. Like, that's fine. I'm not gonna begrudge people liking a film. I do not like not good movie. But there is one scene in that movie that I really like connected with, and like that scene with Wim helping KB, like always like moments like those reminds me of like this scene and why it meant a lot to me. It's like that one scene when the Flash is, doesn't know what to do and he's talking to Batman. He's like, oh, I've never saved anyone before. I just pushed them away. And Batman just says, save one. And I'm just like, that's what being a hero is, right? It's not about being a Jedi jumping around and turning a lightsaber and stopping a war. I mean, ultimately being a hero is like having the courage to do the right thing, even if it's just to one person. And I think that's what Wim did. He saved one, and he got knighted a Jedi in the best way. But
he's a hero because he just saved one person. That's all you need.
I think that
it didn't need to be a grand adventure.
One of the funniest things when the kids split apart for the first time, when they split apart, KB and Wim went in one direction and they're following the crabs, and the little crabs are like speaking, muttering away.
Crabs.
The crabs, the two things they were repeating when KB and Wim were following them at first were follow and help. And so KB was following Wim, and she always follows Fern, and Wim in turn helps KB. So I don't know if it was intentional, but I thought that was super cute. And that was
the crabs.
Are just, well, they had their own little plan.
The crabs were so good.
Can you guess that it was my favorite part of the episode? Was the whimsical talking robo-voiced crabs?
Oh
because it was.
They were
my
so
favorite parts of the episode.
whimsical.
I'm with you there.
Crabs are like one of my favorite animals. They're just so funny, and everything wants to turn into a crab. Carcinization. Oof, that's a hard word to say. But Google it sometime. It's really funny. Everything evolves into a crab eventually. It's really good.
I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Dude, the rock crabs. The rock crabs and Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We get a lot of nice big crabs. Oh, we'll get to the big crab, but
we'll get to the big crab. We got a lot of little crabs right now. And we got the Noti last year. I think we're just like on
crab.
We're just on a little crab kick.
Crab cake.
Also
crab
delicious.
Cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adorable yet delicious.
There you go.
Okay, so no disrespect to vegans. I'm sorry.
So with that, we can kind of shift back to Jod's story because I think it kind of intercuts in the middle, and we'll put that in here with this. This was my favorite part of the episode because I love Jod and I love like the pirate crew that's been, Brutus and all the guys have been following. Yeah. So he's about to get thrown out the airlock, but he gets like 1 minute to talk or whatever, a few minutes through the plasma timer, which is very cool. And I loved Jod's speech. Just like doesn't say anything for a minute, then I'm hungry. And just goes on that whole tangent. And it's like, where's he going with this? But then
he was thinking about crab.
You can tell this was
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. If this was like Fallout or something, his charisma is like a 10. Like that's how he became the captain in the first place. And everyone's eating out of the palm of his hand. And he goes on about the little jingle he had, the little shanty. What was it? About Tack.
Are you going to sing it to us?
I have it.
No.
Tack Renaud soared away, aboard the Onyx Cinder, and never was he seen again. For at Atten he did plunder. Not like the best rhyme, but it's close.
It's good enough. It's good enough for it makes its point. Not very fun to sing. But whatever.
You guys said it, not me. I didn't want to. No pun intended. I still like but I didn't want to tread those waters.
Yeah. I hope the next episode just starts with them all like singing some crazy space shanty.
Please.
Well, it's the payoff we need because it wasn't this episode, but the previous episode when SM33 was my MVP of the previous episode because he was on point with like every single joke. And my favorite one that he said was when they see like the harp and he's like, you can't play a shanty on a harp.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be the best payoff if all of a sudden SM33 is playing a shanty on a harp or something.
That would be
like
amazing.
And he's like, oh, you can.
They just got to bring him back because my boy keeps dying. They keep killing SM33.
You know that they're doing that on purpose for some. Some like payoff. It's like he hasn't been able to be fully powered up to take everyone down. So I feel like it's coming in the last episode.
And yes, Brent, the pirates did take him with them. They specifically say like, "Oh, I gotta bring the droid," and then you see them grabbing him, picking him up, and dragging him away.
That's also Jod's like bargaining chip as well, because like SM33 has the information.
He's got the directions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Jod.
I had
That's
said to
true.
Jamie
Well,
and
KB does too.
Yes.
Jamie and our friend Lara before we watched it. I was like, oh, I can't wait for SM33 to say something funny this episode. And it's like the one
Yes.
episode he
Aye,
doesn't.
aye, Captain. Bam. And they
Yeah.
immediately
That's
Yeah,
all
the
he
one
is.
episode he just pops up and gets immediately
I
shot.
was sad.
Hilarious.
He's probably my favorite character in the show, so I was sad.
I do appreciate that he was like covered in like the chains and jewels as well, though. That's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so funny.
Mm.
Like, just imagine Jod and SM33 watch the kids just disappear down the floor, and Jod's like, "All right, come here." Put
Yeah,
all
and
the
then
stuff
and then
on.
SM33 is just kind of standing there with his hands out, and he's just getting draped things over
Yeah.
him. He's just standing there like,
And he's just like, "All right,
Aye, aye,
Captain."
Captain. Yeah, there we go.
go.
But I really liked when Jod, back to his speech thing, he points out a couple people in the crew.
Mhm.
Glurb, was it Glurb? Glurb and his glowweed plantation.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And then I
Yeah.
forget the girl's name that was there.
Kona.
Yeah, I know. Jamie, I know you liked Kona a lot.
She's a very. I just love her character design. I just love how very obviously like indigenous inspired she is. I was just,
Yeah.
oh, it's just really cool to see. That we don't just have. Total side note. I love how these pirates aren't just like diverse with aliens. They also are like diverse with humans too.
Mhm,
It's just
mhm,
very cool to
mhm,
see.
Very cool.
But I love how Jod did single out a few of the crew to show he does actually like know the crew. And he also just like makes fun of Brutus for not being a good captain.
Good
And everyone
person,
agrees with
not.
him.
Well, come on. Since he's become
But-
captain, Brutus has gotten his ass handed to him by a bunch of like 8-year-olds constantly, near constantly. I was waiting for somebody to bring that up because I like Brutus. I like him as a character, but he's not a good captain. He keeps
Oh yeah,
screwing
exactly.
up.
Not for
What was I gonna say?
everybody.
What was up with that older? Do you remember the older woman who was the one who was kind of like sitting there waiting to speak, and then she was like, "You gotta let him talk." What was
Yeah.
up with that? Like just a random.
Yep. Yeah, what
person.
Jordan said. Yep. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
kind of reminds me of Grandmaster Zayd. Yep.
definitely.
Oh,
Ah, okay.
Yes. I think that the other woman that brings up that Jod has the rights to speak was definitely someone who was some sort of like confidant in the past with Jod, definitely someone high ranking on his crew in the past and still is on the current crew. And definitely just knows the rules of the space
Mhm,
sea.
mhm.
Yeah.
Just honor the code. That's all. All pirates want is you to honor the code at the end
We-
of the day.
Well, we
So-
just needed someone to say that the code's more like guidelines than an actual
Yeah,
code.
guidelines. Yeah, exactly.
Topaz.
Can I just
was her
say-
name.
Great, great. What is she proposing? Let the girl speak.
Yeah.
Vibes going on there. While he's giving the
Yeah, what the guy yell?
speech.
What's he going on about?
What's he going on about?
Something like that. It was great.
Nobody said let him speak though. I was very disappointed. They kept taunting him. Nobody was defending him.
Do we
Except
think?
Topaz.
Do we think he won the crew over? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
pretty clearly, yeah. Except
Yeah, he did.
Gunter.
he just had to show the credit again, and then immediately Vane is right there, just like, oh, yep, this is it. This is the one. This is the one, guys. I knew it was
Remember
real.
when we thought
Like,
Vane was going to be like the main villain of the show?
Thank God.
I know.
though.
I'm glad he's not. Yeah.
I'm very glad. I was just like, oh my, are they? Because when they said that this was gonna be in the Mandoverse, I'm like, God, no, because we know that Vane from Mando season 3 is gonna be in this thing. So I just hope that no. So I'm glad that he's just there, but not not the guy to connect to the thing in a very meaningful way. Because otherwise, I would have been very disappointed because he's not compelling in any way
Kill
or shape.
Gorian
whatsoever.
Chard for
Right.
Vane. It's
That
like, come
guy.
on, dude.
Gorian Shard,
Come
I
on.
wanted more of. I'm
Yes.
just like that guy.
I
Everybody
appreciate
needs more of
Vane
him.
is just he's pretty much just a glup. That's
He's a
okay,
glup.
though. That's okay.
He's
though.
glup,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Keep him as a glove.
glorified glove.
Glorified glove.
A glumpified.
That's a T-shirt too.
He ain't,
glorified
he ain't no Dr. Mandible. Let's say that.
Well, no.
That's true.
Come
Hear me
on.
out.
Hear me out. Yeah. Hear me out.
So
Vane.
we get that they're clearly on their way to Atten. Something's gonna happen maybe next week or next week's the penultimate episode, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, then maybe get one more. So yeah, we'll see
Do
what
you
happens
guys
there.
think? See, this is getting piratey technical now.
Oh, boy.
But the fact that Brutus is like, oh, if we don't get what we need, we're gonna shoot you out the airlock. Would you guys say that tossing someone out the airlock for a space pirate is the equivalent of walking the plank, or is it the equivalent of keel hauling someone?
Keel hauling.
Which is when
I
they
was
get
just about to bring that up.
when they strap them to the sails and they literally just like drown them
It's a keel
underwater,
haul.
and you
Yeah,
get
you-
dragged across the bottom of the ship.
You push
I had clearly my pirate lore is not up to date.
That's how Blackbeard
I
went.
didn't go
Blackbeard
into
died.
I didn't go into Pirate Wiki before
It's okay.
going here, so I didn't know about that one. So I'm gonna stick to
It's
Walking
brutal.
Plank.
Long story short, like
The
getting
barnacles on the bottom of the ship, they like tear your flesh off.
it's gross. Like, ugh.
It's rough.
That's how
Rough out
Blackbeard
there.
dies. Shout out
Not-
Black Sails, Ray Stevenson's Blackbeard and Black Sails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in. Oh my god, what's the? Oh shit, I forgot the name of the show. God damn it. The Taika Waititi.
Aha!
Oh,
our flag means death.
Our flag
Yes.
means death, there we go.
Other Blackbeard.
Yeah.
But what about
Um,
Blackbeard from Pirates of the Caribbean? We were talking about that. He doesn't go that way either.
No, doesn't he get his life sucked out of him by
Yeah,
Penelope
Okay.
Cruz?
What's the canon Blackbeard lore?
I don't know. We'll have
the
to
real
look it up.
one, the
don't know.
real guy, or is it more like when
Regardless.
Bootstrap Bill
What is
was
real?
shot out of a cannon?
So all I'm saying is
All
death
right.
by an airlock is a bit more serious than walking the plank, because
right.
walking the plank, in theory, you could survive.
yeah, just look at Luke.
So that's all I'm saying.
Well,
Anyway.
apparently Black Sails, which I thought was pretty truthful to history, was wrong because he just gets hanged.
Remember, Black Sails is half
Mhm.
a prequel to Treasure Island, which is not a real story. So, well,
It is if
it's
you
just not a
believe
it.
real tale. It's a real story, but it's not real life.
It could have been.
Anyway.
Somewhere there was treasure and an island, and
I don't even know if that's true. I think that's like one of those fun facts where people are like, "No, pirates never buried any treasure."
oh, they definitely did.
Okay, prove it. Find me
Between the
some.
years, when was piracy?
I don't.
someone
like
buried a box of
1400s
gold
to
in the
like
sand.
1800s.
You're ruining my pirate fun. Anywho,
Alright,
let's go
on
back to the
track, sorry.
kids. So we kind of talked about Wim and his Jedi moment,
Mhm.
but we also didn't talk about Fern and Neil climbing the thing. Poor Neil.
Neil. But Fern learns her lesson too,
He
right?
did.
She ties the rope around her waist and helps him climb because he can't
Mm.
do it the way she can. So it's like perfect, perfect way to learn that lesson.
Yeah, I love how Neil's the one to call her out on the fact that he just straight up says the theme of the episode is not everyone can do the things the way that you do them. And like Neil would be the one to say it because he's just like, if he's got a problem, he's going to tell you. Because if he's uncomfortable, you're going to know about it. But that was very, very cute that Neil is then just getting hauled up like behind her.
But not keel hauled.
No.
Thank God.
No,
Neil-
we
No,
never Neil.
No.
Never.
Never.
Neil Hall.
Don't even
Neil
don't even
Halls.
put that in the same sentence.
Neil hauled.
Yeah. Exactly.
You got Neil Halls on Lanufa.
Oh God.
What a sentence. But yeah, I know, Jamie, I know you had some stuff to say also about back on not the desert, but on the icy plains of
on
Lanupa.
the icy plains of Lanupa. So I thought this was super interesting, observation-wise. So Lanupa itself is this, it's a big spa. They put in a spa, and it's this ultra luxe, ultra exclusive like resort. And what comes with any sort of all expenses included type resort? Overconsumption. We love overconsumption. And you know what else goes hand in hand with that? A lot of trash. You guys ever seen like piles and piles of trash and like every single like
Trash
you turn
island.
one corner and there it is. And like I love how they included this. So we have this like beautiful spa and everything's perfect. And then like you look in one direction and here's mountains of trash of the overconsumption of Lanupa. I love to see that. So just like in your face, like that's another thing I feel like we don't see enough of in Star Wars, especially that explicitly. Like we have, say like Coruscant, we have like the upper levels and whatnot. And then we have like the dark side of Coruscant, which is like the industrial zone, but it's like clear. It's just districts. We don't necessarily see it of the same planet where you literally look in one direction. It's just like, oh, and there's Trash Mountain. Yeah, we did that, but we don't talk about it. Like you can't avoid it. So I thought that was very cool that they kind of slid in this little bit of overconsumption and
Trash everywhere.
trash.
But for the crabs,
Mhm.
that's a
Oh,
spot.
it's heaven.
So
Where
we've got
Another man's, one man's trash is another crab's treasure. So
Exactly. Where there's trash,
Pirates.
people and creatures will make it work. But
That's
like
true.
that's not how it
It's not
always
ideal.
was.
Not
No,
ideal. They're just lucky they're doing it on like basically a barren planet. I mean, there's not much life going on there except for the crabs.
Except the
Yeah.
crabs.
There would be
Although,
something out there.
Maybe we don't know.
Yeah, a bigger crab.
Hey,
There's always a
okay.
bigger crab.
There's always a bigger crab.
Can we talk about bigger crab now? Because
Oh, the big crab.
I want to talk about bigger crab's name.
Go for it.
Tetanus. Are you
Tetanus.
serious?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I read about that. Yeah.
A giant rusty crab named Tetanus. You can't get any better than that. That's why Star Wars is the best franchise on planet Earth. You could have those things.
Because
and
of
it
tetanus.
just works.
But
Yeah.
the reason it's called that for me is like even better because it was the Phil Tippett studio did the oh my god, the stop motion
Stop
animation
motion, yeah.
for it and everything, because it's like kit bashed with all the different pieces, like all the animators that were like building it and designing it kept cutting themselves with the model, so like they were all thinking that they were gonna get tetanus building the thing and animating it, so they were just like, let's just call it tetanus, which for
That's
me is
so
just like the best place of creativity. Is just a frustration of doing a job generates, like a super clever name for something. I think it's one of the best parts of the story, and also the fact that Phil Tippett is still involved with Star Wars. It's not, obviously it's not the most recent time. I mean, it is the most recent, but obviously he did a bunch of stuff for Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. But it's always nice to see the Star Wars veterans kind of keep coming back to continue adding to the lore, as it were, of the saga. So,
and the fact that they're still using stop motion in 2024, like, first of all, I'm a humongous stop motion fan. Anytime you put stop motion in a movie is just unbelievable. We had that, and we had Beetlejuice. The second Beetlejuice movie used stop motion for like the sandworms and stuff, and it's like we're back to like that era where like stop motion monsters being composited into a movie is like top tier, and I'm so down for that, dude.
So much more affordable too, and it looks better.
Maybe. I don't know if it's more affordable. I actually probably think it was more labor intensive to build the crab and animate it than it would be for them to animate it in a computer.
You think?
I would bet. Oh yeah, I would bet. Yeah. Stop motion is incredibly
100%.
Well, my other point is that it just looks better. So.
Well, it looks better, and that's why they did it. They went. It's an extra step. It's like it's above and beyond.
Even
for that look,
the Bomar Monk in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
that was stop motion. That looks like so good.
Yeah, and of course, the video that came out today, where the animators talked about all the little details they hid, like R2D2 is in the rust pile, and C3PO is in the rust pile, and K2SO is in the rust pile. If you look closely, you can see some of these like outlines of super junk references here and there. But it's really impressive. I was so excited. Like last week, I just couldn't stop talking about stop motion crab. This week we got him.
Brent brings up a good point about how they always use miniatures. I mean, that's always a classic. I'm glad they do that. But yeah. But anyways, I know Jordan brought up the KB's issue, which we sort of glossed over a little bit. But what did we think? I know we've talked about it for 4 weeks, going into this episode. But what did you think KB's foreshadowed medical issue would be?
I mean, I think that I'm not gonna say we were like right on the money, but I think the suspicion was on track with what she had said, right? In the last episode, when I don't know if KB herself mentioned it or if it was Vern that said that there was concern about corrosion in her augmentations. So I think that was kind of on the money to of the suspicion that was a thing that was going to happen to her. I think that the big revelation, at least to me, was that what the augmentations were for, because I'm just like, why does she need, the Lobot visors, she's a kid. So to know that she had an accident and like those augmentations are something that keeps her alive was like the big deal, because it's just like, bringing a disability to a child on screen is a big deal, right? Because it helps children with disabilities that you don't see themselves represented in media too often. I think it's kind of like a powerful thing, and like how our humanity and how we react to that and the considerations that we have to have with people like that, I think was very important. So I think it definitely helped ground her character and then kind of bring her arc full circle to like when her moms are also kind of worried about like, oh, but we lost her life alert or whatever the hell the thing was called, and like they were worried about something with her health. So like that little nugget in that episode, and then the worry about the corrosion in the mines happening to her, like I think like finally, came to be with that scene, and it was very impactful in that way. So I think, yeah, it was everything we expected, but so much more at the same time.
Mm.
And shout out to the actress,
Yeah.
Kiriana Krater. Kiriana
Yes.
Krater. I don't want to say Krater. I'm going to say Krater. I don't know how to pronounce it though. She was fantastic. She was awesome. She did a great job.
Oh, this was her moment too, because I mean, we've all loved KB the whole ride, but this was like a full focus on her. Until this point, she was kind of like a side kid character, and I mean that's kind of her relationship with Fern, right? She's kind of the Phoebe to Fern's Helga from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Or the
she was
Peppermint
great.
Patty. Who's Peppermint Patty's sidekick in
Marcy.
Marcy.
We
Yeah.
talked
There you
about
go.
that.
Shout out to our friend Hannah, big Charlie Brown fan
But you
Yeah.
over there in Australia.
But yeah, I loved seeing all of that play out with getting the confirmation that it was some sort of an accident in the past that caused her to have the device on her head, because we had just like a lot of thoughts of maybe like her parents chose to like do it, and who knows why they actually did. So I do appreciate that there was an accident, and now she needs to live with this for the rest of her life, because that is real life for some people, and it was just very like touching to actually see it on screen and then taken care of. I think it also goes to show how strong a person is who has some sort of like disability like that as well. They are able to take care of what needs to be done, but they do need a hand from time to time. So like, you gotta be respectful of people like that. Like, you just always respectful of everyone, but you know what I mean? Of like, if you see like someone like struggling to push their wheelchair like up like a hill, like ask first. Don't just grab it and shove them up the hill, because they might have it handled, but be like, hey, do you need a hand? And if they say they got it, they got this. But like, if they need help, they'll obviously be like, yes, of course, I'll take your help. And so this was like a big moment for KB, and just big moment for representation in general. And like, obviously that was like a big jump, but like, that's like the easiest comparison I can think of offhand here.
That was a good one.
That's a great point. But I know from here we get the big crab, which Matt was drooling over.
Big crab.
Which was I like how it was just
So
a
good.
quick thing too.
It was a quick thing.
I didn't want the
I mean,
kids to have to fight the crab or
I
something.
thought they were going to fight the crab. The crab was like very played up in like the marketing, which I'm fine with the amount of crab screen time we got in this episode. Trust me.
I mean,
I was
I
just
thought
shocked that they got away from
I
him.
thought Chicken Scallops was gonna like show up and have a big kaiju fight. With Tetanus.
If only.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, that was not meant to be. But I was there. Like the minute the crab shows up, I was like, "Are we gonna have a kaiju fight here?" And
We could have gotten there.
Cathallops is just gonna come out and just help the kids out. But
There's always a bigger crab.
He was busy. He was busy.
Oh yeah.
In the sauna.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
I
glad
thought
they didn't fight him. I'm glad they saved
Yeah.
themselves. Like,
I
just,
thought this was going to be like, because like Wim has now become a hero. He's got to fight like a dragon or something. And I thought the giant crab was going to be the dragon, but the dragon is later in the episode.
Yes.
When it tries to eat their ship.
Yeah.
that is the dragon. Yeah.
And I think Brent or someone brought up in the chat how, and I didn't think about it. It's so funny that those drones or droids, whatever they are, think that the Onyx Cinder is trash.
I know.
They just grab it and go to throw it out.
Then they're all like,
I didn't really think of it like that.
They're like
but
being
that's
terrorized by
amazing.
these kids, and they're like, "Oh, stop it! We're just doing our job. Leave
They're
us
just trying to
alone."
work. But
That's
yeah,
really funny when you say that the Lanupa facility was pretty much just like, yeah, that's just trash. Just get it out of here. Because the moment they landed, they were just like, oh,
Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they made a
Yeah.
point
yeah.
to show, like in the episode recap at the beginning, they made a point to show the landing of the Onyx Cinder when it like splatters the oil and the things
Yeah, and
fall
they're like,
off and
disgusting.
everyone's
Like,
make
get
it
it out
look
of here.
junky. Yeah,
So the moment like Jod and all the pirates like left, they're like, thank God, get this ship out of here. Just
Get it
throw
out.
it over the edge of the cliff.
it's
More
like
to the pile.
yeah, it's like in Canto Bight when they park on the beach and the guy tattles on them and they get arrested and thrown in jail. You know, it's like we really don't want any of these dirty, undesirable things in our pristine, world. We're trying to get rid of all the trash.
Or the
We get-
riffraff. Yeah.
Yeah,
all the riffraff.
exactly.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, get the riffraff out of here.
We get a very Toy Story 3 moment with the incinerator with the ship, and all the kids
Jesus.
are on board, and they finally hit that button. What did we think? What did you guys think the button was going to do this whole time?
Not that. I can
Not
tell you
that.
that. Why the
Yeah.
hell would you need that? I guess if you're like, if there's a net on you or something.
Or this exact situation.
Yeah,
guess
I wasn't expecting that like a whole explosion didn't mean self-destruction. You know, like in my mind, I'm just like, well, if you destroy the whole, you're destroying the whole ship, right? Especially because why else would SM-33 not want to have anyone push the button if the button actually doesn't destroy the ship, just lets you get away? It's like, don't
And gives
press
you
it
a
unless
cooler
it's an
ship?
emergency. Yeah, exactly.
It
mean,
gives you a
like-
cooler ship, better ship.
Maybe there's a
So I
chance
wasn't
he didn't.
prepped for it.
There's
Yeah.
probably a chance that he didn't know that it like literally just like
Yeah,
reskinned the
probably.
entire ship, and maybe he thought it was literally like a self-destruct kind of
Yeah.
situation.
It had never been done.
No.
Probably.
Never to be done again.
But it was
Unfortunately.
off of our Matt question of the week. It was a very Batman type button, you know,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
turning into another version of itself.
That was like the highlight of the episode for me. And I loved the crab, don't get me wrong. But seeing
Yeah.
the new Onyx Cinder underneath, like being kind of like popping out of the old one was just so cool. What
Very
a
cool
visual.
And we've jinxed all of our Lego Star Wars ships we get. Like we got the Razor Crest, it blew up.
Yeah.
I think there was something else that blew up, and then
The
this
Marauder.
didn't blow up, but it changed.
Well,
Yeah, the Marauder.
have you tried smashing your Onyx Cinder on the ground? See if something else is inside.
Not yet.
I put it
Maybe there's
together.
I
maybe
think
there's
you
a
should.
button.
Yeah, press the button.
See what
Make it
happens.
explode.
Brent brought up before we'll finish off where we are with the kids in the Onyx Cinder. But Jamie, you had a great point when we were just rewatching it about all the kids and flying the ship.
Oh
out.
yeah, I was like, I got a couple points on with the kids, and so like I mentioned this earlier, of they all have really came into their own of knowing what tasks that they have on the ship as well. And the moment that the ship and they're all in such distress, they all know what they can and they can't do. So like, KB runs to the engine room because she knows that she can adjust the engines. She also knows the entire pre-flight sequence, which is just spot on. Wynn runs to the guns because he's done it before, and so he can try to help out that way. And then obviously Neil has flown the ship before, so he's at least confident enough that he can try. And Fern is right next to him as well, and obviously she's got his back.
Fern knows
so-
how to boss people around. So
Exactly.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Yeah,
they all filled their roles.
A great team.
they're a really good team.
But
It's a skeleton crew of sorts.
Exactly.
If
They
you will.
are.
If you will.
Exactly.
the crew.
That's the name of the show.
No way.
Are the skeletons still just like rolling around on?
Yes.
No,
the
that's
skeletons?
on
Probably.
the hall. That's on the
Oh,
hall.
wait a minute. No, did
Maybe
we
it
lose the
was.
skeletons? Oh, that's
I like to
No.
think that I like to think that all the junk went away with the hull that got exploded, and now the brand spanking new ship. It's just like no ghosts, no booby traps.
Yeah, I
no
wonder-
skeletons.
The inside must have changed too, right? Or maybe not.
There's a lot of smoke in there, but I don't know.
So
Yeah,
open a couple
KB's,
vents,
like,
and it's gonna be fine.
Throwing her jacket on the thing. But Brent brought up in the chat that we forgot about a good moment in the show with the X-wings showing up. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
the kids realize they're the good guys.
I know, because they didn't know that, which I thought was really funny. But that also kind of, I mean, we didn't really need proof, but that further proves that they just have not had any contact with the galaxy for a long time.
Yeah, they know
To
nothing.
not know what an X-wing is,
Yeah.
you know, to think that they might be the bad guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of their like learning as well, because everyone has told them don't trust Jod, and so they were like, oh well, Jod said this, but you know what? No, because they were actually trying to come and help us, and so it's the furthering of their learning about the galaxy.
Oh, this is a good point.
Yep.
It was a very solo moment, shooting the thing away, and
Yeah. So like that's what I thought was gonna happen with like hull demolition sequence. It was gonna be like some sort of like ejection from the front, not the entire front of the ship. But yeah, it was a very cool moment. It was super unique and something we haven't seen before. So I loved that we got to see something brand new.
And
It
from
could
here,
be armor. It could be a disguise. I hadn't thought of that until just now.
the decoy.
Yeah, everybody's looking for this Onyx
It's not.
Cinder.
It's not either, and it's not either or. It's both and. I think
Yeah,
it's
there we go.
definitely enhancements for the ship to get like more engines and be stronger and have more protection, but also
but also look different.
they also look different. Yeah,
So we may still have the skeletons in Skeleton Crew,
Yarg.
but
maybe we'll get new skeletons one day.
Ooh.
Kill a couple of new pirates. Yeah.
I'm down.
That's true. Morale is now at an all-time high with the kids, I would say. You know, they're a full
Of
team.
course.
They all like each other. Even more than I don't know if I guess they did before, and then they kind of hit this bump on the road, and now they're like, okay, we're a bit of a family now. So they've gone through some stuff, and that's kind of where the episode leaves off. But while we're here, obviously, we haven't had an at Atten deep dive in a while. But Goose, where do you lie in all this at and talk? Like, what do you think's going on there? Why were they shielded away? What republic are they talking about? All that sort of stuff.
I think one of the things that I've learned with a lot of this Star Wars stuff, especially when it refers to the shows, is to trust what Dave Filoni has said in the past. And it's just like, what you see is what you get. It's just like, if the show is telling you one thing, trust the show to be telling you what it is. Because I feel like sometimes we go into the rabbit holes of theorizing so much that then the reveal is that we already knew what it was. And I think that the show already told us. I think that they're from the Old Republic, and I think that is the case. And I think that I think the twist is going to be why the planet is a secret, and or who the supervisor is, and or why Atten is the only one that remains. I think that those are the mysteries, because I do think that there's nothing or not too much more to learn about Atten's place in what republic it is. I definitely think it's from the Old Republic, and there's maybe like a backdoor thing to the James Mangold Old Republic stuff that's gonna come down the pipeline to start kind of throwing crumbs that way, so that we can start opening those avenues. Since Acolyte already did that for High Republic, but yeah, I think that I'm interested in the supervisor right now. I'm just like, why are these other planets destroyed? Like, did the Captain Renaud destroy the other planets so that they couldn't support each other or call for help? Or because I think that's where I'm a little iffy right now. It's just like the timeline of when Renaud and the Onyx Cinder arrived to the Jewels of the Old Republic, because that, I think that determines like what happened with all the other jewels and why Atten's the only one that remains as the mint. But yeah, I don't know. That wasn't a sexy theory, but
No,
it's good though.
It's a good one.
I'm not trying not get too sexy, right? Because every time we go down that road, we just disappoint ourselves.
Well, you answered the one question that I've been most interested in, because I'm always like, Star Wars kind of has two old republics. It has the Old Republic and it has the Old Republic. And, so like it's either the Old Republic, like thousands of years ago thing, or they're talking about the Republic pre-Empire, like Obi-Wan calls, the Guardians of Peace and Justice, the Old Republic.
Yeah.
But
this is Old Republic pre-High Republic.
I think this is Old Republic pre.
This is Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah.
I'm hoping it is. I think it is. I think that's what they're talking about, but who knows? Like
I'm willing to put a goose guarantee on that one.
All right.
The goose guarantee.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
like
part of
that.
the goose lore, actually.
Is that a thing?
Well, it is in Chicago. Yeah.
Can we get it on a T-shirt?
We're bringing the goose guarantee to Boston, guys.
Give me maybe 40%.
Bring him to Boston. I like it. But yeah, the mystery of Atten has really been a nice mystery behind this show. Like the show's had it all, in my opinion. You've had the kids in Star Wars, which is always fun. Jod has been a nice Sleemo turned redeemed hero. Eventually, we're assuming. We've got pirates, and then you have this nice mystery. As the bread of the sandwich, I guess. So I don't know.
Sure,
I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
Talk about
Let's do episode MVP. So episode MVP
please.
is our favorite characters from this week, and then we also afterwards pick your glup shido of the week. So just keep that in mind. But we'll do the episode MVP first. So Goose, who was your episode MVP?
I mean, I think without a shadow of a doubt, it's KB.
Yes.
There's no argument on that one on my side.
I like it.
I will agree. Mine is also KB. This was her episode, her time to shine, and Kariana absolutely killed it, and she's incredible. So
I think Matt and I might have the same answer here, judging from this conversation.
I don't think so.
I think we will. You're gonna be surprised. So I think KB was the focal point of the episode, but my episode MVP is Wim. Because Wim
being useful.
Wim saves KB and he has his moment. Wim is kind of I don't know. He's just a dork. Like he's just there. He's kind of like one of us, just hanging around. He wants this adventure. He dreams about Jedi. Turns the lightsaber on upside down. He's very relatable. But he actually has his moment, and like he doesn't really realize he has this moment, even though he's nervous as hell. And he's like, "Oh, I just saved someone's life." Like that's probably something that would happen to me or something. So episode MVP.
Super relatable for Wim. But I was actually I'm going with KB.
Oh, I ruined the KB sweep.
Yeah, I thought we were getting a KB sweep, but that's okay because honestly, I agree with you. Wim is a very close second. KB was just so good. Her actress did such a great job, and she was just so cool. It was just such a really like touching moment that like really hit me. I don't know what it was about that, but it just like really hit me. But I just love that whole sequence. So Wim getting an MVP, I will agree with that. And I'm happy he gets at least one.
I think Wim definitely had like a great moment, but I still think that his big moment hasn't happened yet. I mean, I definitely think that all the kids are gonna have like a big, Avengers moment, like in the end of the, in the next episode or the final episode or something like that. I think Wim's gonna be the one to get the biggest one, either standing up to Jod or confronting his dad about like their relationship or something.
Or both.
That's the biggest. I feel that's the biggest adult relationships that we've seen from the kids. This is like Wim with his dad and Jod. So I feel like there's going to be some catharsis that's going to happen there. So I think that this was the first stepping stone for Wim's big moments. This was his mini moment for the big moment. I think that's my theory for Wim.
I like that.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is his blowing up the Death Star versus his like throwing his lightsaber down and saying he's a Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, Glup Shadow of the week. We'll go on the same. Goose, who was yours?
I forgot about that.
I'm so bad with Glup Shadows. I don't know.
We can circle back if you're not sure yet.
You could just say the giant crab.
Circle back.
It's literally anything, dude. You could say literally anything, and we.
I was gonna say Pocket, but I don't know that Pocket's. She's not a Glup Shadow. We know everyone knows her name.
She could be.
She's a Glup Shadow.
She could be.
Came out of nowhere.
I think we pretty much
Glup
called.
Shadows have names.
We called Vane a Glup Shadow this episode because he's
guaranteed Glup.
And if he's not, he should be. He should be like,
exactly.
He should be demoted below Glup Shadow. But I don't want to hate. I want to appreciate. So
I'm going to go the trash crab, but the specific one that had the leg, the droid's leg on him.
Loved the droid leg trash crab.
The boot. Yeah.
Droid leg trash crab.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Hey. At one point, he like veered off to the left and like towards a pile of trash. I don't know if he ever made it back to the pack, but
eventually,
I'm sure he did. I'm also glad they didn't have to fight the crabs because I didn't want them to die. They were just living their best life. So.
Yeah, the babies were just like, "Oh, hey, we're here to help," but then they also were like, "We're gonna eat you."
They were just trying to help their mom.
Yeah, that's it.
That's just the circle of life, man.
That is.
Oh, was there one with the stormtrooper helmet?
I didn't even know.
I think so.
I don't know if
it was very, very weathered, and so it wasn't like it was like a gleaming white helmet.
There was a lot of trash.
There's a lot of trash. Hey, I know we're not always say that the ships can be Glup Shadows, but I'm gonna say the destroyed hull of the Onyx Cinder is my Glup Shadow.
Okay.
No, wait.
Hold
not
on.
that. The Glup Shadow is actually going to be the trash incinerator. AJ's over there like this isn't
AJ's over there like I'm an imperial
we're trying
bureaucrat from Rebels.
We're trying to explain like Glup Shadows to people, and then we're like, oh, it's this pile of. I always thought a Glup Shadow to be a living person or like a living thing, right?
You know,
I mean, it is, but not the way we do it. We do it special.
Altering
we're
the
special
Glups,
here.
Okay.
Pray she doesn't alter it any further.
Actually, I have a better Glup Shadow.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to look up what the species is. Oh my god.
Matt, who's yours in the meantime?
It's who I mentioned earlier, Ubla Molbro, or if it's not Ubla Molbro specifically, it's her species, which I'm googling now. 1 sec. G-Deck. G-Deck is what
the opera singer.
The opera singer.
Was that confirmed her?
No, I don't think so.
No,
it's her species.
It's her species.
That would have been cool if it was her.
I mean, it could be. Why,
That's
She's
my
in
headcanon.
Canto, why wouldn't she be in Lanupa?
If Rex can be in Return of the Jedi, why
Damn
can't she
right.
be? Yeah.
Damn right.
Oh yeah.
All right, Jamie, hit us.
I
hit us
have
with the glove.
my abridged glup, which is an actual person, a person that I know actually. So a friend of mine
Ooh.
was an extra in this episode and the last episode. He was a Mon Calamari in the background, so I'm gonna go with the Mon Calamari
Mhm.
wearing the lei during the scene. It was my friend John Rodriguez of the Dad Badge podcast.
Oh,
No way.
Very cool.
He's got to
very cool.
be the new glup. There you go. He wins
Nice.
glup of the week.
There it is.
Damn.
That's great. I forgot
Good
about
stuff. Shout out
Yeah.
to him.
Good pull.
Mon Calamari, lucky son
Killing
of
Shocked
a
Mon Calamari. Whoa.
Shock Mon Cala.
that.
Unbelievable.
All right, Goose. What are you cooking up over there?
Well, I'm gonna change my answer from even though like I still want to say pocket just because I'm also want a reveal of what her species is because I know there's a lot of like conflict online about if she is Barash, the species as Barash is in the High Republic, but I'm firmly on team she's the species that Orla Jareni is in High Republic. So until
Barin.
that's why like I'm hyper fixated on her a little bit. But I might change my answer and go with the pirate dude that wants to just have his kelp farm.
Dude,
Yes.
yes.
Glurb.
The
'Cause
glow
I'm
weed.
like,
Good old
hey,
Glurb.
you just want to go into that planet from Mando season 1 and just do a 7 samurai, train some people, and then have
Yeah.
some and raise some kelp. So I'm gonna go with him. He seems like a chill guy who's just
Kelp
gone through some
farmer.
stuff.
Want to go the
Those are
Jim
the-
Belushi route and just start a weed farm somewhere.
Best kind of pirates
chill.
too are the ones that just want to like go do something very
Retire.
basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that want to retire are the best pirates.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, all right. Beautiful glups. And I'm glad we all actually settled on glups. It took me a while, but we got there.
We got there.
That was good.
Thank you so much for joining us, Goose. Like
Oh,
this
no,
has
no,
been
no.
a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for keeping up with our
Thank you for indulging my monologues.
off the
Yeah,
rail.
Oh, it
Absolutely.
was great.
Thank you to everyone tonight who joined us live in the chat. We've had an awesome time hanging out with you guys and talking skeleton crew, not clue. Where did that come
Skeleton.
Oh.
It's gonna be the spin-off of the
from? Skeleton
It was
Clue?
Neil in the, I don't know. It was
Neil?
Neil in the back room with the
With the
The Onyx
droid
thing.
crab leg.
droid crab leg. Yep.
Beautiful.
The crab
Beautiful.
droid leg.
You can
And
get Hollow Knight
killed-
Marauders
he killed
everywhere. Just on social media at Hollow Knight Marauders. You can catch Goose's podcast at Triad of the Force. Check them out. They have an awesome show. And thank you so much for joining us again. We'll be back next week with more coverage of Skeleton Crew. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.